Leidos. One part inspiration, one part science, one part legacy, and one part opportunity. We live in a complex, uncertain world, a world that demands breakthroughs today, like safe and reliable transportation, a robust infrastructure, better health solutions, a safer cyberspace, and an efficient military. Leidos, ready to support your next breakthrough.
Good evening. Welcome to today's first Chesapeake Chat session. My name is Christian Jones, and I'll be your moderator for the evening. Thank you to our first Chesapeake Chat sponsor, Newport News Shipbuilding. This session is the fourth in a 5-part series called Today's Women in STEM, Cool Jobs, and as part of Reaching for the Stars, First Chesapeake celebrates Women in STEM, sponsored by Leidos. Thank you to both Newport News Shipbuilding and Leidos for making this chat possible. Just some quick housekeeping. We'll let the speakers present and then open up for discussion questions later on if there's time. Feel free to put questions in the comment box throughout the chat, and we'll try to get to them all. Today's chat features women currently working for Accenture Federal Services. Before we introduce our speakers, we're going to watch a quick video about Accenture Federal Services.
I like to liken it to the Avengers and how everyone is really good at their one thing.
My personal definition of consulting at AFS is coming in, working with the client to truly understand their problem.
It's more than just solving problems that I thought it was before. It's more about creating value for your clients.
We anticipate our clients' needs before they know what their problem is.
Helping the client achieve a goal. And all of us are working together to achieve that unified goal.
And they all come together with that diversity of skills and perspectives to help solve the client need or the client problem.
I love the people. I love working in so many different teams. It's so diverse.
It's very inclusive. It very much pushes each individual to do their best.
Accenture encourages us to bring our true selves to work because when we're all different, that's how we get such amazing creativity and innovative ideas.
At this company, you will feel like a part of the family. 100%. People actually care. And it goes further than just the people on your team.
And everyone within Accenture leadership is very approachable, which I think is a really, really great foundational aspect of the culture at Accenture.
I make a difference to my client by really owning my project. The most meaningful part of my job is being able to see the code I write be produced into production and have a real world impact.
Being able to deliver work that has a direct positive impact on our federal services, our government, or our people.
Personally, I have helped to raise the number of applications to my agency and the amount of jobs we're actually putting out per year, which is awesome. I'm so happy about that.
We make a difference for our client by always making sure that they're on a new path and that they're working with the newest technologies. We actually have an innovation day where we pitch to them the newest technology that we found that can help them.
I noticed it when I wanted to hang out with my coworkers outside of work.
For me is when I joined the African American Employee Resource Group. It felt great to join a community that was a little smaller than just AFS as a whole.
For me, I was so fortunate that it was my very first day in the office. I saw someone I had met at a conference who really piqued my interest in Accenture. I met my summer buddy who just so happened to work in my office as well. And I realized I was basically surrounded with family.
When we were at a meeting that was account-wide and we were recognizing individuals for their accomplishments, it was just great to see AFS really value their people.
I made a big mistake and I was like, this is probably the first mistake I've ever made in my career, like really big. And I was like, oh no, this is gonna be awful. Like, I'm gonna get fired, like people are gonna hate me. And then I remember my manager coming up to me and just saying, hey DJ, like I know you're probably bugging out a little bit about the mistake, but it's no big deal. Don't worry about it, we'll fix it. Like we always fix everything. And at that moment, I was like, wow, like I said, this is more than just a job. People actually care about their people here. And at that moment, I definitely was like, hey, like this is home for sure.
That was such a fun video to see what Accenture Federal Services is really all about. At this time, I'm so excited to introduce our speakers for the evening. First off, we have Viveka Pavan Har, is an analytics manager with Accenture Federal Services. Next up, we have Joey John, is an analytics associate manager. And last but not least, we have Danielle Russell, who is a business and technology delivery analyst. So would each of you mind telling me a little bit more about yourself and kind of what your job actually entails?
Sure. So I'm Viv, and I am a data science lead for the Discovery Lab at Accenture. So the Discovery Lab is kind of like our innovation hub for anything that is analytics or applied intelligence. So I lead a team of data scientists, data engineers, and data visualizers on developing a lot of rapid prototype, quick turnaround projects for over 30 federal clients right now. So my job is surrounded by a lot of really, really smart people doing really cool stuff really quickly.
Wow.
I'm Joey. I am a manager. So I started off at AFS, Accenture Federal Services, as a data science and developer. And then a little bit less than a year later, I became manager of our development team. And what our team does is we use software engineering, data science, and machine learning techniques to try to detect different narratives and topics of interest in digital news and in social media regarding the international affairs space.
Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle, and I am an analyst at the Department of State Global Public Affairs Office of Research. And so I do a lot of data science work. So typically, most of my work surrounds doing analyses on different things, kind of like how we message out to the world through the Department of State. And so finding key trends through those messages to then benefit the Department of State in their future messaging.
Wow. That is so exciting. Thank y'all for sharing. I'd first I'd like to start the chat off with a few questions. And the first of which, did you dream of becoming an engineer? Is that kind of what your end goal was?
So I can answer this. I actually did not dream of becoming an engineer. When I was applying for college, I was trying to pick a major, and I basically just did it out of process of elimination. I didn't like science. I was terrible at biology. I hated chemistry. I hated history. My dad's an engineer. So I was like, well, I like math, so I might as well become an engineer. So I started out as an electrical engineer at first. And then as I went through schooling, I found that I really enjoyed my math and computer science classes more than my engineering classes, like my electrical engineering classes. So then I decided within 3 days to change my major to be computer science and math. And that's kind of how I became a software engineer. So I didn't really expect to become a software engineer or a data scientist, but that's just kind of how, based on my interest at the time, that's just kind of how it became.
Oh, sorry. Welcome. This is all the fun. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. That's kind of cool that you didn't really want to be an engineer at first and you kind of just found yourself in that path. Is there anybody in particular or any instance that inspired any of you to become an engineer?
Yeah, so actually it kind of goes along with Joey's response to the last question of her dad was an engineer. So my dad is, I guess, an electrical engineer as well. And so he always told me oh, Danielle, you're so technical. You should go into technology. You'd be so great at it. You love math, stats. And obviously, what people say about you means a lot. And so I was like, okay, well then, yeah. And I sure enough did love math and stats through school. And then going into college, I was like, well, engineering would be cool, but I don't know if I want physics. I'm not sure if that would be my thing. In high school, it didn't really, I don't know, it didn't click that easily with me. But math and stats were always my core, and so I ended up studying computational modeling and data analytics at Virginia Tech. And so my dad was definitely like the cause of that, and even as an engineer, he knows the importance of data and how much data, is involved in every different career, every different work stream. And so he was really excited for me. And I still felt like I had the engineering kind of path. It still aligns to the engineering path, but going into data science just kind of, aligned better with me.
Great. Thank you for that response. That was so fun. Going on to the next question is, what is y'all's favorite part about your job?
So I can take this one. So like I said, we work with a group of just data scientists, data engineers, and data visualizers. And I have to say that the nature of the work that we do is extremely quick. Like we do things in like 4-week sprints to 6 weeks, delivering a completely new project or a completely new approach to different clients. And we pivot very quickly. 1 week we'll be working with one account, and the next week we're working with a completely different one, and just one week doing financial work and the next doing optimization of roads. And so one of the things that I really, really enjoy about my job is being able to continue the creativity and to constantly be having to think of new ways and new approaches to solve problems, which also goes hand in hand with the idea that part of the reason why we are successful as a team is because we take what we learned on one side and, pivot and say like, what, that project resonates here. We should probably see if there's any overlap. And I really enjoy that. That's a lot of fun.
Something different each day kind of keeps you on your toes, it seems.
I wanted to answer that too. So my favorite part of my job, I would say, is probably my team. I think your team, has a large impact on the work you do. And it's actually kind of fitting. A lot of my team is made up of women. So being on the data science team, there's a lot of women on my team. And it's just very inspiring to see how motivated everyone is and how supportive everyone is. I mean, anything that I do, I constantly feel like I have people I can turn to and get feedback, get support, whatever it be. We're a very close-knit group, and I love that about my job. I love that every day.
I also was gonna hop in. So I actually agree with both of them. So the reason, like, my favorite part is that my team is like, we have a really creative platform or space, so we can really take on. So we deal with a lot of like machine learning and like data science techniques, but we're also like full on developing applications, and we kind of support our researchers and our analysts on like what they need, but they don't always know what they need. So to help them out, we like kind of think we have to think through, like try to be them and kind of think of ways that we can help them. So it's like a really cool space to be in. But I'm actually on the same team as Danielle. She's just on the research side and I'm on the analytics side. And she's right that like our team is mostly women, which is amazing to see. And then the dev team, the smaller team that I manage is all men and I'm the only woman. So it's kind of cool that I am leading like a pack of men, but they're all super cool guys too. Like they're really chill. So I just really love the bond that our team has.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. We do have a question from the audience, if you don't mind me kind of switching gears a little bit, and then we'll get back to the other questions. So Tony and Monkeys wants to know, what do you recommend for high school, college students to help them figure out their career path, especially if they're science or technology minded? So
I can take a stab at that. So I would just say talk to people, whether the people being your age or older than you. I actually found out about my degree or major at Virginia Tech through an orientation leader for when I was at orientation for college. And so I just introduced myself and said hi, and then started talking to her about, I really like math and stats, but I'm not really sure what I want to go into. And she was a computational modeling and data analytics student. So she was like, you should go into it. Like, us girls got to stick together. But she, introduced the major to me and was super excited about it, really loved it. And so that inspired me to go into it also, along with my dad, the story that I shared earlier. But I would say, just talk to people. I mean, it really helps just to bounce ideas off of people and ask, throwing things of like, oh, I really enjoyed this, or I did a project here, but I don't know how that would be applied to the real world. And people can really help just by, answering questions or sharing experiences.
Oh, sorry. You can go first.
Okay. I would just like to add that to take courses. Like, I think college is a very good time to test out things that you never have before with regards to like education. Sign up for a class, even if it seems challenging. There will always be people there to help and to like encourage you through it. Study groups are always important, but like take classes outside your comfort zone to figure them out. Like, my background is in public policy and economics. I took one advanced analytics course that led to another, and then here we are. So take classes. They're all fun.
I was also going to say take classes, because I didn't really realize I wanted to do like the data science route until I took a social networks class in grad school. So I would also say, though, is like take your time. You don't have to have your whole life planned out when you're a freshman or a sophomore, or even a junior in college. I didn't really find my passion for like social networks, social media, digital news until grad school. So definitely talk to people, take some courses, but relax, take your time, and just kind of like enjoy all the classes you take and really think about how you felt when you were doing them.
That's great. Kind of along the same lines, did y'all have any professional development opportunities that you found most useful?
When I was in college, after my junior year, I interned at the Scripps Institute of Oceanography. It's where I did some MATLAB work. So it was coding experience. And from that, before then, I was like, I finished half my schoolwork already, like into computer science, but I wasn't really like, it hasn't clicked for me yet. So like getting an internship like that, first of all, it was on the beach, so it was amazing. But second, I also just like, I just got to spend the whole summer getting comfortable coding and like thinking through like how a computer works. So just like getting hands-on experience really helped me in that aspect. And then after my summer after junior year, I got an internship at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, where I ended up getting my first job. So it just continued my growth of like just getting comfortable with programming in real life versus like school.
Yeah, and to add to that, I actually interned with Accenture Federal Services a year and a half ago, a little bit more than a year and a half ago. And so that's what actually got me my job. And I loved that internship. I mean, it was great as far as my project. I got a lot of exposure, but I also loved being an intern because I didn't feel like an intern. I felt like a full-time employee, and I felt like one of the Accenture employees. And so that meant a lot to me, and I got to do real impactful work. And so that experience really got me excited and motivated to go through then my senior year of college and then start my job here at AFS back in August. So yeah, the internship was great. And I think any experience through professional development opportunities, you not only gain work experience, but just you feel more comfortable and confident in yourself, kind of like Joey was saying, having a summer to understand how a computer works and not really taking your time at it and finding what you love about it and that kind of driving you forward.
So my intern experience was a little bit different. I interned at the Central American Bank. Remember, my background is more economics. And yeah, it was terrible. It was a long summer. I got a lot of hands-off experience with, statistics and the econ world. I also realized how dry it was. And so at this point, I still didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to do with myself. So when I did start taking some of the classes and start finding a different approach and start finding myself being really excited and like quite literally just nerding out, couldn't wait home to like finish some of the projects. I remember a particular map I was working on that I was just like, there's something here and I have to do it. And that sense of excitement and just a different level of encouragement within myself was a good translation where I was like, you know what, that I did that summer is not what I want to do for the rest of my life, but this other stuff is really cool. So different experience there.
It got you where you are today, so that's all that matters. Awesome. So what advice would you give younger women looking to explore a similar field?
I think I would encourage women to not be intimidated. I know that a lot of the engineering classes, a lot of the computer science classes, the data science courses have a lot of men in there, and use that to your favor. I mean, they're there because they have been encouraged, and there's been a sense in our society of like, that's what guys do, and that's a good environment. And now we're taking some of that back and saying, hey, I can do it too, and I am just as good, if not better. Also, I think that our ability as women to be able to multitask a little bit more than men, and sorry if I'm being stereotypical, helps us in our jobs. So let's take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I would say finding like buddies. So I found two of my good friends from college, and Caroline and Pravani were their names. I was like, we were like a trio. Like we would study together constantly. We would do projects together. And if we couldn't do projects together, it really stunk for all of us. But it was super exciting because we had each other's backs and we were in it together. And with that, we had so much motivation and drive that we were going to do a great job through our degree, and then get great jobs out of it. And so that was fun. Not only were they great friends, but they were great people to learn from too.
I would say when you start trying something new, like dipping your toes into a new field, people are usually really nervous to do that. I say just kind of like dive right in. Don't really think about what other people are thinking about. And it's true that like a lot of this field is dominated by men, but we're all people. So like when I was in college, like most of my classmates were guys, and I never really noticed. I just felt like we still bonded. Like I still had buddies that I would do homework with, and they just all happened to be guys. And even now, like I manage a team of guys, but I like, as long as you're like confident in yourself and you just kind of dive it in, try things out. Don't be afraid to like, if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. You just try again. I think that's really all you really need to be successful.
Now, all y'all have kind of touched on the fact that the field can be dominated by males. Do you think you've had to make personal sacrifices in order to pursue such an ambitious career?
I personally didn't. I didn't really notice it. I think it's more of a confidence thing too. Like if you're confident in yourself, then it comes across, and then it doesn't really matter that you're a girl versus a guy. And I think, that's just my personal experience though.
Yeah, I'm with Joey on this one. I don't think that I don't feel like I've made any personal sacrifices that wouldn't be the same sacrifices that would be done by a male. I do believe that there are sacrifices that happen because, careers in STEM are difficult. They're extremely rewarding, and there's a reason for that, right? But I think that if we come in it with the mindset of, this is kind of what we want to do and how there's a path to achieve it, embrace it.
Great. And can some of y'all kind of share some events in your career that have helped kind of validate your decision to become an engineer?
Yeah, I remember the very first, my very first project at AFS. It was one of these really quick turnarounds. So we had 4 weeks to come up with a financial model a financial model. And my background was completely in either natural language processing or, multilingual events. So I came at it and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I have a background in economics, but my computer science work was completely different. And that was the very first time that I actually had the opportunity to blend both things and come up with a solution that was viable. And the 4 weeks were over. We presented to the client liked it, and I just remember that feeling of like, yes, nailed it. I think that was it for me.
That's awesome.
I would say probably my capstone project in college. So my senior year, fall semester, I did a capstone project actually with Booz Allen Hamilton. And it was just, I was actually on a team with my two friends that I just talked about. So that, if that says anything, but it was a semester long project, and it was just something that you had worked so hard on, and it was day in, day out, you dreamt of it. Like it was just, you eat and breathe, slept it, everything. And so but I loved it. I was so excited to add work to this, to find the solution, to, come up with work for a company that they would then use in their everyday jobs. And so I guess just seeing like the commitment for a full semester was really what inspired me and made me excited, because, sometimes like Viv has, very fast-paced work, but there are ones that take longer. And so, I mean, this was over the course of, oh my gosh, 4 months, something like that. And we gave a solution, but it wasn't a fully functioning solution. I mean, it was, partway there, which was great, but it was to be handed off to Booz Allen Hamilton. And it was just cool to see, like, at every stage what, kind of next level we got to. And with all the improvement we made, and then finally writing up a report at the end to show all the work that we did, it's just like, wow, we did that. Like, how did we, and at the beginning you're like, how am I going to do this? Oh my gosh, like 3 months is going to fly by. We're never going to get this done, but we did. And that's just really cool. And then to write it up in a report at the end is just to circle it all back.
I have a funny story. So when I was a freshman in college, I took my very first computer science class then. And what our final project was to like write a maze, like a self, like a maze to automatically find its own solution. And it was like our first class. So our professor already wrote out like the functions, like the skeleton of it. We just had to fill in the blanks, and we had like he automatically had tests that if you just ran it and they all turned green, that means that your functions all worked. And if you had any missing, you would go back. So I just remember when I was a freshman, I was really bad at computer science. And I was like, I don't know how people do this all the time. Like, I just like did not have a knack for it, but I just kept working. We had a partner, so we just kept working on it over and over and over again for hours. And then finally, like the last day it was due, all of the checkboxes turned green. And that was when I just like forgot all of the struggles that I had before. And I was like, that I just felt so accomplished. And then I just took a screenshot of that and made that my background for the next 4 years. But so I think it was like, even though I struggled so much during that semester and I was like, how do people do this? That feeling of like accomplishment at the end made me want to take another class. And then from there, I just ended up switching my major. So I think that's kind of when I was like, computer science had me before I even knew it, really.
The accomplishments were bigger than the struggles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I didn't realize time flew so quick. I appreciate you giving me the time and talking with us today. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Christian.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yes. And just to wrap up, if you missed today's Women in STEM virtual breakfast on Monday, it is available for viewing on the First Chesapeake YouTube channel. So check it out for some inspiration. And in the meantime, with the viewers, if you want to stay tuned for the next chat starting in just a few minutes. And again, thank y'all so much.